Hi guys, this is Rishabh Manocha. I am a student at UF3 and today I'm going to talk about one of your biggest myths which you more popularly call as multitasking. But before I begin, I would like to ask you all a very interesting question. What would you do if you had an extra 40 hours added to each page on your calendar? Just think about all the activities that you would do, your hobbies, your passion, your family time, anything that you have kept on standby just because you never got the time to do that. Interesting, huh? So let's begin. Let's get an extra week added to your calendar. But what exactly is multitasking? How do we define it? What does it mean? Well, in reality, multitasking means when people use their psychomotors to handle multiple activities at the same time. Texting a friend while you're way back home about the latest tweet that you just read on your phone while having a sip of coffee is something that makes us feel that we have mastered the skill of multitasking. But the problem is, in reality, other than the activities which use certain distinctive areas of the brain, such as walking and listening together, you cannot multitask. That is because our brain has very limited resources and most of which gets used by single activity. Then how do you happen to text a friend while writing a paper? The thing is, you are not multitasking. You are just switching your attention from one task to another back and forth in a very short time. Don't fool yourself into thinking that you are actually doing two things at the same time because texting a friend is not same as writing a paper. Your brain requires effort and energy to break from one thing and go back to the another. So what effect does it have on your quality of work? The thing is, not just your time increases by almost 50%, but the quality of work that you just did actually falls down. Studies have shown that it would have been better if you would have done two things separately one by one. Although switch testing is fast, almost as 1/10 of a second, you can go back to the another task from one task in 1/10 of a second. But the effort and time it requires to get started with the work is huge. According to the basics research, an average knowledgeable person loses 2.1 hours each day just because of these interruptions. Well, just think about all of this time that gets wasted due to multitasking. If you add up, this is your 40 hours every month. Extra week that you can add to your calendar if you focus your attention on one thing at a time. Other than the loss of time, it has further bad effects on your well-being. Multitasking reduces the quality of your work. It increases the time that you spend on it. It makes a person easily distracted. Studies have shown that people who multitask are very bad at filtering out the irrelevant information. They tend to get distracted very easily. Hence, they were not able to pay attention on the task at hand. You may have not realized, but multitasking makes people more stressed because every time you do two things at a time, there is a squirt of adrenaline released in your body. Well, then why do people multitask so much if it's so bad? It may be interesting to know that multitasking can be addictive because every time you multitask, there is a squirt of dopamine that is released in your brain and it gives the same feeling as any drug. Maybe that's why it is justified, but 67% of the people check their phone while doing anything important. Other than the loss of productivity, multitasking also has a connection with the reduced gray matter. Studies have found that people who multitask often have reduced amount of gray matter. Gray matter is something that is associated with the intelligent and logical reasoning of the brain. Every time this squirt of adrenaline and dopamine that is released in your body every time you multitask is associated with two adverse psychological effects, that is loss of short-term memory and attention deficit, which means that people lose their ability to remember short-term things and they are not even able to pay attention. So as we have learned that multitasking can be really addictive and it might not be able to break a habit that has taken a lot of time to build. So what are the various solutions that you can think of to break from this bad habit? Well, the answer is very simple. Just like any other exercise, you can practice focusing your attention at any given thing and bring back your attention whenever you lose it. Just try sitting back and relax and focus your attention on one thing, such as your breathing. Whenever your mind wanders, just bring it back and regain your focus. This helps to strengthen your neural pathways that are associated with focus and paying attention. So now we have learned that multitasking is just a myth. You cannot actually do that. It is not just harmful for you as an individual, but to your society as a whole. Because we have a generation coming up that is involved in high amount of multitasking all the time. Even the kids these days, they involve themselves in a lot of multitasking. But the problem is, when people work with their crumbs of attention, which is spread among so many competing tasks, they may gain information, but their culture as a whole may lose wisdom. So it is highly recommended that you guys stop multitasking today, because someone rightly said, the steady and undissipated attention to one object is surely a mark of super genius.